Hello everyone, welcome again to another series of video from Electronics Eternity. For today our tutorial will be about reading and writing from ports. So as some of you may already know that Arduino have three different ports, right? For example, port D, which is from pin 0 to 7, and port B, which is from pin 8 to 13, and also finally port C, which covers all the analog pins. Okay, so particularly why I'm doing a tutorial on this is because I foresee that writing and reading into ports will become or will emerge as an important element as we progress deeper into programming. Okay, for an example, let's just take our recent LCD display tutorial for an example, right? So in that tutorial we will be using an LCD display on top of our Arduino Uno, and the values written into 8 pins, which is pin 2 to 7 and also pin 8 and 9, will control the LCD's behavior. So basically we are communicating to LCD display by manipulating the highs and lows of these pins, and therefore I realize just about any any device or any Arduino shield will actually make use of this differences of values across pins to communicate, right? Because after all, electronic devices can only understand highs and lows, 0 and 1s, right? So that's the machine language. And because of that, I feel like this is important, and therefore I'm doing a video on it, right? So without further delaying, let's jump into it. Okay, so at the very top over here, before that, as you can see, I have all my code inside void setup, right? It's simply because I want this program to only run once. I don't want it to be repeating repetitively running in loop, right? That's why I put this here, because I only want it to run once, and that's it. Okay, so to the first line of this program, right? So which is serial begin. I don't think I have to explain that. This will simply initiate serial begin at the baud rate of 9600, and next we are declaring a byte. So uint8 underscore t is basically a byte, and the byte name is d, and we're simply assigning this value to the byte, right? So it doesn't matter what value, so this will be the values that we are writing into our pins, into our Arduino pins across port D and port B. Okay, so just so that we could view things in the serial monitor, we are serial printing these values, and next part is we are writing to this port, and the first part is going to be port D. I have a command. Sorry, I have a comment over here, just to, as a guidance. The port registers control whether the pin is high or low, right? So port D covers digital pin 0 to 7, right? Okay, so now we have port D equal to port D, and with this value, and then we have OR operation over here, and then D is and with this value. Okay, so what does this mean, right? So for the ease of understanding, I'm going to just take that and put it in the notepad and explain how it works. Okay, so let's say port D equals to 10. Let me just type in any value, 10110. So I have 501, right? Just some random values, right? It's because port D, which is pin 0 to 7, could be in any state which is high or low, we'll never know, right? So just for the sake of this illustration, I'm just randomly typing in this value, right? So just remember that any value would work with this. Okay, so we have port D equal to this value, my bad, so this value, and then we end with this value. Okay, so and the OR operation. So let's take the D value that we put over here. So D is this value from the code that we have. We take it and we put it over here, and then we end with this value. Okay, so it's that simple, right? So I'm just substituting in the value so that we could see clearer. Okay, and next is we have port D equal to, so what value this is going to return. So it's going to give 0 1. Okay, so when you end these values with this values which are just right next to it, is going to give us this value in return, right? So the moment you end something with 0, it automatically becomes 0, and the moment you end something with 1, right, it gives the original value, right? So 0 you end with 1, you get 0, and 1 you end with 1, you get 1, right, which is the original value over here, 0 and 1. So notice that the original value of 0 and 1 of pin 0 and 1 is retained over here. So there's a reason why we're doing this, because pin 0 and 1 in Arduino Uno is the RX and TX pin. So this pin will be used when we are uploading code, right? So we don't want to touch this value, we just want to retain the original value of all of it, because we don't want to our Arduino to sort of misbehave or malfunctioning, right? So that's it. And the next one would be, we have 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 1, and we end with this value. So what is going to give us, it's going to give us 1 0 1 0 1 0 and 0 0, right? So because at the end of it we are end with 0, right? So over here the original value of 0 1, bit 0 and 1 is retained, and over here the original value of bit 2 to 7 is retained. Okay, so and then finally port D will produce this value 1 0 1 0 0 1, right? So we have this value in our port D. Okay, so it's that simple. Okay, now let's look at port B. So port B, I'm gonna just copy this and put it over here. So this is what port B is. So let's assign a random value for port B. Let's say port B equals to 0 1 0 0 1 1 1 0, right? Just some random value, it doesn't matter. So 0 1, okay, we have 8 bits in total, right? So let's substitute in the values, and what we get is, so, and the value D is what we have over here, and my bad. So okay, so port B will become 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 0. Okay, so 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 0, simply because we end this with this value. Okay, and what it does, so this command is basically nullifying bit pin number 8 and 9, and then retaining the other original values. Okay, and we have an OR operation next to it. So what it will happen is 0 0 0 0 0 0 and 1 1. Okay, whereas on this side, what is it doing is it's retaining the value in bit number 8, sorry, the first bit, right? So this is the first bit. Okay, so bit 0 and bit 1 from D. Okay, so it's retaining that value. So finally what we will have is, we will have bit B0 0 0 1 1 1 1. So this is the value that we are going to get in our port B. Okay, so it's a simple OR operation. And so let's look at the next part of our code. So the next part refers to this one. So let's, okay, now so let's slot in the values. So pin D, So pin D, what pin D does, it's read all the values in port D. So that's what pin D means. We can have pin B or pin C, so it just reads the value in whatever port. So that's what the command pin stands for. Okay, so finally the value that we will get is, we have AND over here. So this is what we are going to get, right? Because we end with this value, so 2 to 7 will retain its original value, and with 0 and 1 will be 0. Okay, so finally, not finally, we're not there yet. So the next part would be, let's take part B. So we have part B, and the value that we are going to get is, we're going to get, right, so this is the value that we are going to get, right? So 0 0 0 0 1 1. Okay, so you can see pin 2 to 7 basically takes the value from pin 2 to 7. Pin 0 to 1 just takes this value, right? So it's just retaining the original value from our D. So from our D, pin 2 to 7, if you can see, the D value is 10 10 10, and we have 10 10 10 over here, right? And pin 0 to 1 is just keeping this value, okay, which is 1 1, right? So now we have come to the end of it. So let's just take these values and slot it in. So pin 2 to 7 will be this value, so pin 0 to 1 will be this value, and finally we have, nope, it's not it. So finally what we will have is, we will have this value, right? So 1010. Now if you notice, this value and our original D value is exactly the same, right? So this is what I actually meant by manipulating values of your port to construct a byte of information, because a byte of information is then consumed by your whatever device that you have, whether it's an LCD display, it's a GSM module, if it's a RF module, if it's a Bluetooth or wireless, just whatever, right? So a byte of information will be then consumed by the peripherals connected to your Arduino Uno, and then it interprets and acts accordingly, right? So this is what I actually wanted to show, right? So I wanted to show that you could write these values into the general purpose input output pins that you have in your Arduino Uno to construct a byte of information, right? So this is the whole mathematics behind it. It's a simple digital logic operation of OR and AND. Okay, so this might be a little confusing for you to study and understand it directly afterwards, but so I suggest you to go through the video a few times until you get this understanding properly, right? So enough with the theoretical explanation. Let's try to upload this code and see if it works. Okay, so I've uploaded that, and let's see. So this is my value and this is the final value, right? Pin 2 to 7 will have this value, pin 0 to 1 will have this value, and finally what we have is the same value with D again, right? So let's just change D for the sake of experimentation, right? I'm gonna just just change to some random values and then upload the code again. Let's see if it works. Alright, so I have inserted 100. Okay. Oh no, something's wrong. Let's reset the Arduino again. Okay. So you see 10100110, right? And you have this number over here, the first 7 bits. First bit is bit 7 to 2, and we have bit 0 to 1, and finally we get this value, right? So let's just click this thing again, see if it works again. Okay, yeah, it works, right? So because it's pretty much the same mathematics. I think earlier just now there's a problem with Uno. I just click reset and it works. Okay, so 10001. So it gives the original D value that we have over here. Okay, so we have come to the end of the tutorial. So I hope you find this useful. I hope you now understand the underlying concept of writing into ports and reading from it, right? So because this will be the basic constituent of writing a program, a library, or controlling any device, which could be LCD display or a GSM module or RF module, just about whatever, right? Okay, so that's about it. I hope you guys liked it. So until then, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.